All right, guys, we're back this week with the King.
Thanks,
Weller
the King.
Special Reserve. Not to spoil our reviews of it, but it is an absolute favorite of mine. Something I've had on the bar consistently since really I've been able to drink. I found it early on into my bourbon hunting career, and it's something that I've just genuinely loved.
You know I'm gonna ask. How many bottles you got in the house, Josh?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Probably enough stock at a liquor store.
Probably,
That's not really the point.
I've seen liquor stores with less.
I've seen liquor stores with less Special Reserve than that hang out in this house. You can see behind me, there is the big boy.
That's a 1.75 liter.
1.75.
Regular liter.
We got a liter here, and then I have, we have some alternative bottles. You know, we have some Antique 107. I do have a full proof as well. They're off in a separate room.
Hiding.
But it should show, without a doubt, Weller is one of my favorite whiskeys. Just separate of being a tater, separate of being just a whiskey collector. We hope this bubble kind of bursts, but...
He's up there. He's a very good one for me. I mean...
He's a really good one.
I like to try and have a little bit of different stuff than what Josh keeps around, just because it kind of makes things a little bit more interesting for me. But the Weller Special Reserve still stays on my bar. Mm-hmm. He's very good. I know very high things about him. He went for the pour and a half. I'm going to stick with the regular ounce.
He's just going to stick with an ounce this time, but I am also pouring it into my Weller Glencairn.
He does have the special Weller Glencairn purchased at the Buffalo Trace Distillery.
If you guys watch the Ohio trip, you'll know all about us pulling up there. But
absolutely.
I mean, honestly, just to kind of start there, because we obviously have a developed palate about this. To start there, Buffalo Trace, they always let you pick up a bottle of their signature, their Buffalo Trace. They got the bourbon cream, they got the Wheatley vodka, and then they'll put out an alternative bottle. It could be Blanton's, it could be Eagle Rare, or it could be Weller Special Reserve. And I've giggled with some other bourbon influencers that if you whip up to Buffalo Trace on a Special Reserve day, it's what the point. But I know that for a lot of people watching this, it may not even be available to you in the first place.
That's an us thing. Here in Oklahoma, we have Special Reserve out the wazoo.
We have it. We joke at just the name Special Reserve because we got such access to it.
Yeah.
And now don't come flooding down here. Do not change that, or we'll personally have
my
beef.
Special Reserve supply line.
Look at me. We will have problems. Comma and but, this is the land of Weller Green. You need Weller Red, you need Weller Blue, go to Ohio. Get out of my face. We got some greens here.
We got greens. We got
some
greens. And apparently that one place up in Oak Mulgee had a full proof.
Yeah. Let us know if you want to see the real hunts.
Oh, but he's rich in the honey and the vanilla.
But exactly that. It's hard for me because all of the alternative products are so well hunted in the Buffalo Trace communities.
Yep.
But Weller Special Reserve kind of seems to be the odd child out. Almost cast down with Ancient Age, Wheatley.
I think it's just because how available it is in some areas. Of course, in some other areas, it's a little harder to get your hands on. But in places as big as where we are, we get tons of Special Reserve, and that can't just be the oddity. You know what I mean? There's got to be some places where the Special Reserve is very widely available. And so some people are like, well, why would I want to go for the Weller Reserve when I could go for the 107? And I've even heard people from Ohio saying, I was having a conversation with one of our commenters about him being in Ohio and people in Ohio just passing up on the 107 all the time because it's just that available for them, and that's insane to me. But so that's the difference for us, you know what I mean? So if Special Reserve's a hard thing for you to come by, let us know. I would love to be interested in where that is, so I know to stay away from there because I want to be where the Special Reserve is.
That's a good place for me to be too.
Yeah.
As far as the nose. He's got a lot of honey. He does nose. He's got a lot of caramel.
You can find
that
vanilla.
He's a very sweet, almost yellow cakey type nose. He's not offensive. If you're used to bourbons, you're used to whiskeys, you can get your nose almost touching the thing. I mean, there are times I've really been sniffing my Weller Special Reserve, and I've almost snorted it up my nose, like aspirated it.
He's so light on the palate. I'm a big fan of the Weller Special Reserve on the palate. It's not very often for me that palate beats out the nose for me, especially in my bourbons and whiskeys. But the Special Reserve is a case where it does for me. The palate, he's sweet, but he's not crazy sweet. Like if you watch our live streams where we've been trying all that we've got here on the table so far, when we tried the Barton's, the very old Barton's 100 proof here, I made a comment that he was very, very sweet. Like, almost upfront, a little offensively sweet. He's the Weller Special Reserve. He's sweet, but he's just a little sweet. Just a little taste.
No, I think it is too, and I agree that it's just a quick little bite, and there's not too many whiskeys where the taste is superior to the nose. I agree with that. Usually those alcohol vapors really allow you to extract a lot of smells, a lot of volatile stuff that really season the overall flavor of a whiskey. But I think that the flavor is secondary to, or the smell is secondary to the flavor when it comes to Weller.
And you know, when I come back to the nose, I've let them open up a little bit. I do get a lot more of those caramel notes that you were mentioning earlier. They really open up in the later part of it.
But I always say it's a young caramel. I think that it's something like...
It is a very bright caramel.
You let the sugar just kind of melt in the pan, and it's just starting to change color a little bit. It's a very young caramel, and that smell that would accentuate your house with.
Well, you know what part I'm almost the most excited for the Weller Special Reserve. And that's the mixer, my man. Go ahead. Well, don't mix it. I want to know how she stacks up straight versus the mixer. Of course, I do know, but I want to share with you guys live how it goes and how I feel about it.
I need to be ambidextrous, but I'm not even dexterous, dude.
Oh, he's sweet. He really helps those citrus notes of the Sprite come off while still giving you a lot of that honey.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone through and we've mixed all of these guys with Sprite. We always mixed against Sprite, because if it's good enough for Elmer T. Lee...
It's good enough for me.
That's exactly it. And it's control in scientific terms.
We are trying to do this scientifically. I want to know what some of the best discounted bourbons can be. And I'll tell you what, the Special Reserve especially mix, he just sits up there. Oh. He is amazing.
It's hard for me sometimes because he's almost better mixed sometimes than he is straight. But every time I take him straight, I'm pleased. Every time I mix him up, I'm pleased.
He's very, very good.
And I
cannot complain about him.
Buffalo Trace has been doing a lot of work to increase their overall production in accordance with the demand issues surrounding Eagle Rare, surrounding Blanton, surrounding Weller, let alone the BTAC. Did you hear about this new BHAB? Did you hear about this?
I haven't heard
Buffalo
about Buffalo
Trace Prohibition era whiskeys. They're bringing back 5 Prohibition era style whiskeys.
I haven't heard that.
MSRP is in the thousands. So we'll never touch it here at Discount Bourbon Review. But
well, we'll touch it, just not here.
It's that
at the table.
The Walnut Hill one specifically has caught my interest because it looks to me to be a lot kind of like a predecessor to Ancient Age. You know what I mean? I feel like in branding and style.
Okay.
That's all just my perceptions. Check out that Buffalo Trace Prohibition stuff. They just announced that in the last day or two. Maybe that helps you date the video.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that yet, so that's interesting, and I'm very excited to go look into that. I slammed my mixer.
You slammed your mixer right now.
Weller Special Reserve is very solidly in mixer and sipper category.
I mean, we joked about it.
I love him over ice. I love him mixed. In my sweet tea, I love him.
We call him the king. We call him the king.
We do.
And we joke about it for a reason.
He is the king in this household. He sits on top. He is...
This liter I got for $30. Now, I know people that'll pay $80 for a 750 ml. And that just blows my mind.
Now, are we saying that the Weller Antique 107 is worse than the Special Reserve? No, I don't think we are. I really, really love the Antique 107.
100% an availability thing. It's 100% an availability thing.
I agree with that. We have him so available to us, and he's just so damn good that he just sits up there. He is our king. Don't do it. Don't do it to me, king. He's going to do it to me. Hand him over. Oh, he's just so
That
good.
red fruit and apricot is just so much stronger. You can tell that it's a further developed version of it.
It is.
But it's like the king, and then it's like the god.
The god. There's still a couple of Wellers we haven't been able to get our hands on and try at all. So there still could be a better one out there. We don't know.
Yeah.
If you think so, please let me know. I heard someone talking about, and I'm interested if this is fake news, you please let me know. He was talking about an old Weller Antique 107 Special Reserve. He was talking about them both in one bottle.
Like
that was the full name of the bottle. Weller Antique 107, or Old Weller Antique.
Now, I know there's some
107.
stuff older than these new labels. Of course, they've been making Weller for a while. Buffalo Trace been doing it for a long time. That's just a little crazy to me.
That's insane to me. He said he had a bottle of it, and he said he absolutely loved it.
So
I'm very interested. There's tons of stuff for us to try, but at least for what we have in front of us, I freaking love him.
I do know that Weller Special Reserve actually used to carry an age statement. I believe it was 7 years. Don't quote me on the exact years, but it did carry an age statement. They have since dropped it with some product availability issues and have started marrying the product. So it can no longer be a strict aged product. It's kind of just ready when it's ready, I'd have to assume. But I would be excited to see a return to form on that stuff.
I hope it's not a seasonal thing for
I would
us
be
right
excited to go back and see some of those older bottles from before rebranding, what they might taste like. But of course, those have become unicorns. They're on deep auctions. They're thousands of dollars at this point.
Thousands of dollars. And we're trying to spend $50. How much did we spend, at least in our area, on
this
a
one
bottle?
was $30 for a liter.
A liter.
$30 for a liter. I paid less than $40 for my
regularly
1.75.
For a 750 milliliter, which is of course the rest of our bottles, not counting the very old Bartons over here. But that's typically the constant that we try to keep around here is the 750 milliliter. I've seen them as low as $22.
Exactly.
And that's absolutely fantastic.
So 20, 30, 40, all of these three giants fit within this family.
Yep.
So it's firmly a 10 on the price for me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, overall, I'm probably going to give it a 10. It's my favorite whiskey at the moment. It's something I started with.
We all know I'm not going to give it a solid 10. Nose, he is a 9. I love that nose. He hides things from you, but that honey, that vanilla, he's there. He's available for you. You know what I mean? And he kind of has, again, we use it a lot, that X factor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's there in the Weller Special Reserve. And he has me curious. And what is it?
It's that same X factor that's shared in Blanton's. And it's that same X factor that's shared in, I must assume it's equal rare.
What are they doing? There's
something beyond.
It absolutely is. But so that smell, he's a 9. Flavor, we all know I'm not willing to give a full out 10 right now. I believe I gave the Antique 107
You give it a 9.5.
So we're going to give him a 9.
That upset BL. If you remember back from earlier in the stream, BL donated a couple of these bottles to the channel.
He was
if you'd like to donate some bottles,
by
let us know.
9.5?
He was intrigued by your 9.5.
Because I have a curiosity that there might be something
Well,
better.
BL knows that your palate does not necessarily line up with his.
Well, BL...
But BL is also very excited about coming and trying this Antique 107.
BL has a lot of spicy in his drawer, so he can keep that to himself. I love you, BL. I appreciate the bottles that you've provided for us.
I do appreciate that as well.
But in line, because I do believe that the 107 is better than the Special Reserve flavor-wise.
Truth.
He's going to go down a step. So I'm just going to give him a solid 9 because he is fantastic.
Knowing what I know about, I've had Full Proof, I've had 12 year, I've had the Antique 107.
I haven't had the Full Proof.
Unfortunately, the place where I was able to try the Full Proof and the 12 year had a fire incident. If you would like to donate to the people over at Hodges Bend, people over at Lowwood, and the apartments over there in Tulsa, feel free, please. We give our love to them. I have considered trying to buy the smoke damage bottles from them, but that's a secondary point.
Neither here nor there.
That's neither here nor there. But yes, I've been able to try a couple down the lineup, and of course, Weller Special Reserve is the watered down offering. It's 90 proof. That's definitely not cask strength. Even the Full Proof at 114 is just starting to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where you start getting a lot of those deeper, richer notes.
Oh, yeah.
Just as we sniffed the cork and we were able to immediately ascertain that red fruit and knowing that apricot taste from the video we did. Weller here, he's got a long ways to go, but by no means is he a little brother that you should count out.
I 100% agree. I've seen a lot of people count out the Special Reserve for something more like Antique 107 or 12 year that's a little bit more easy to get their hands on where they are. And if it's easier to get your hands on, go for it. I know that Antique 107 is a $50 bottle. That's still within the discount bourbon reviews category. But if you see the Special Reserve out and about, you've never tried it, he's $25 MSRP. That's a 9. That's a 10 for me. Maybe I'm giving him a couple of extra points because I really like him.
I'll say this. Personal 10, with taking away all objectivities in the entire overall world of bourbons, taking people like BL into account and their taste and their preferences, I think most people would find this at a 7. It's going to be good. It's not going to challenge you in any ways, but you would definitely want to stock it. You definitely want to hold it, and it's something that you'd consider sipping with no question, either mixed or straight. And I think you should firmly hold it on your bar. So I think I'm going to give it a Joshy 10, but I think I'm going to give it a Channel 8?
I'm going to give it a 9 all over. Price, smell, flavor, 9. He's fantastic. Have him on your bar.
8, 9, 10. We're settling right there in some pretty high points. It doesn't really matter what exact scores are. We're trying to tell you this is a good whiskey and it's something that you should pick up.
If you think we're just being taters, let me know.
If you think that we're just riding coattails, let us know.
I would love to know if there's a different weeded bourbon out there that's better than this Weller Special Reserve that I should get my hands on, especially for this price range.
We got Larceny Barrel Proof. We got some other stuff. We got the Bernheim Wheat. We certainly are trying some other products.
He's not a bourbon. We can't call him a bourbon.
He's not a bourbon. He is a wheat whiskey, but
yeah.
We've got some certainly wheated products.
Yeah.
And
I'm curious.
He's just a king. He remains a king.
Weller is the king. But, of course, at the end of the day,
most important thing,
drink responsibly. That was good.
Boom. 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 No, we're just going to make a completely different audio and just try to overlay it with that first.
I think that'd be really funny.
Yeah, this is the second take of this Weller Special Reserve. I like to put these little clips back at the end sometimes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
I mean, it happens.
But either way.
It is our second take on them just because we
figuring
it out. Lost the audio.
If you know anything, let us improve it. Obviously.
Oh yeah.
We love drinking bourbon, sharing with you guys.
To improve the quality and to just share bourbon with my friends. You're my friends.
My loved ones.
I'm not going that far.
Okay, yeah, let's back it up. Sorry, that was
friends,
aggressive.
acquaintances,
friends,
loved ones.
What's that meme with that kid? You know, special friends. Special friends.
You lost me.
We're special friends.
We are special friends. You and I. Discount Bourbon Review!